This is a special report from ABC News. Trump January 6th indictment. I'm Michelle Franzen. Special counsel Jack Smith charging former President Donald Trump in a superseding indictment in the federal election interference case. A grand jury recommending the charges following the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity.
Prosecutors say this new superseding indictment was voted on by a new grand jury that had not previously heard evidence in the January 6th case. The charges remain the same. But a spokesman for Jack Smith says the new charging document, quote, reflects the government's efforts to respect and implement the Supreme Court's holdings. The revised indictment mainly refers to Trump as a candidate for president rather than as the sitting president, and it removes about 9 pages of prior material that had referenced steps Trump allegedly took from the White House. The Supreme Court ruled in July that Trump enjoys at least the presumption of immunity for all his official acts.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. This is ABC News.
Valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Bills piling up? Rent due? Need cash help but have bad or no credit? Then you need to go to FastLoansAI.com, where you can get approved for a loan of up to $10,000 regardless of your credit score. FastLoansAI.com is one of the largest lender networks. Their advanced technology can help anyone get up to $10,000. Best part? Money can be in your bank account as fast as the same day. When you need fast cash, go to FastLoansAI.com. That's FastLoansAI.com.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Dog parents are loving Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend Premium Dog Food.
The way she acts and the way she moves, it's just so much better. And she's like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a freeze-dried raw food made with 0 artificial preservatives, so it's naturally shelf-stable with no mess, freezer, or fridge required. Plus, it's full of premium turkey, beef, salmon, and meat your dog will love.
We started with Nature's Blend. She's happy, she sleeps well, she's energetic. I am just delighted with this product.
When given the choice, Nature's Blend and Amazon's #1 bestseller in dry dog food, 29 out of 30 dogs chose Nature's Blend first.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of delicious beef liver treats. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or text healthy to 511-511. Text healthy to 511-511. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Paid for by Dr. Marty's Pets.
Here we go. From the Nashville Sports Radio Media Complex, this is the George Plaster Show. Call George now at 615-844-5600 and online at WNSR.com. And now, George Plaster.
Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown, Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Kelly Holcomb, along with Young Gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. A beautiful Tuesday in Nashville, hotter than all get out, but what would you expect in late August? We're broadcasting from the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue back to our normal set following yesterday. I'm going to dispense with all of the hellos, but make sure that both Kelly and Billy can get in on this. We'll start right off the bat with Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update. The Titans, within the last 15 minutes, have released their cuts. Terry, talk to me. What went down?
It has been a busy, busy day, as you might expect, for the Titans. Even as they were removing players from the roster, they were adding. And this transaction is not official yet because he's got to come in and pass the physical, but they traded for inside linebacker Ernest Jones from the Los Angeles Rams, and this is a huge move for them. It's a guy who had 145 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 30 quarterback pressures last year. So he fits to a T what they want to do with Denard Wilson's aggressive style defense. And he should move in pretty quickly to assume a starting role alongside Kenneth Murray as part of this rebuilt defense.
Because what it looked like all along was that linebacker was a weakness.
Yeah, and it wasn't made any better when Chance Campbell got hurt. And I think they like Jack Gibbons. They like what he offers and brings to the table. But when you can get an athlete and a guy who can play the way Ernest Jones has in his first 3 years in the league, and he's still a young guy at 24 years old, and only give up swapping a 2026 pick, one round higher than what you're getting back, you got to do that.
Let's get to the cut downs. First of all, the transaction you just gave us sounds terrific. Another really good move in what I think has been a string of good moves in the off season. What about the cut downs?
Well, interesting. They kept 5 tight ends on the initial 53-man roster, which is unheard of for a team that runs a 3-wide base set. They kept Nick Vanette, Josh Wiley, Chiga Okonkwo, David Martin Robinson, and Thomas Odukoya, the international player who kind of got noticed Sunday in New Orleans when he chased down the guy on the missed field goal return. I think
incredible hustle.
I think that really earned some accolades in the eyes of the coaching staff and Rand Carthon, Chad Brinker, all the decision makers over there. And I think that for now, it looks like it's a situation where they are tight end heavy at a position that they don't necessarily need to be heavy. And they've got to make one move to make room for Ernest Jones. It makes you wonder what they will do. It's not out of the realm of possibility that they would try to trade somebody, I don't think, in this regard, because it is a very crowded room. And then other cuts made. As far as the offensive line, the backup positions, they kept Daniel Brunskill. They kept Andrew Rupsich. I don't think those were any big surprises at center and guard. At tackles, they kept Jalen Duncan and John Ojukwu, 2 second-year guys, and they let go of some of the veterans that they had brought in Leroy Watson and Jaron Christian. Other guys, 2021 and 22 draft picks continue to exit the building. 3 more got cut today. Caleb Farley, the biggest name, obviously 2021 first-round draft pick, who has had so much bad luck and so much tragedy in his life, but it just wasn't going to work out for him here because he just had trouble staying healthy and really wasn't the player that he was when the Titans drafted him because of all the injuries to his knee and back and everything else. And then, of course, they also let go of Kyle Phillips and also of Hassan Haskins from their 2022 draft class.
I'm going to ask a dumb question. Do you think Treylon Burks was close to getting cut?
No, I don't. I think he's looked pretty good this camp. I think given that he's gotten some reps with the ones while DeAndre Hopkins has been out and for a while Tyler Boyd was out, I think he was safe and solid. But once DeAndre Hopkins comes back, he goes back to more of a role rather than being a starter. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does this year, knowing that he's probably going to have a role on special teams and that his playing time may be limited at times.
Kelly, if you've got a question for Terry, fire away.
Well, I was just wondering about Hassan Haskins because I said the other day, I thought, I think they kept the 5 tight ends. I think, those guys were the ones that they kept and they let Hassan Haskins go. That's kind of what I was thinking. I mean, it was going to be a tight end running back deal, and they felt like the tight ends, all those guys are going to get used on special teams. You just saw that huge play by that young kid, and you see all his teammates hugging him, but that was huge, and that probably, spurred the coaches on. But I figured it was going to come down to that: keep a tight end or keep Hassan Haskins, and they kept, they decided to keep a tight end. So, that was the only thing that I was going to ask, and y'all answered it for me.
The only other thing, guys, and Kelly, this is a concern George to me as well. They only kept, I think, 4 cornerbacks on the initial roster.
Yeah.
And 2 of those, L'Jarius Sneed and Chidobe Awuzie, have hardly played, didn't play at all during the preseason, have hardly been on the practice field in camp. They let go of Trey Avery. They let go of Eric Garrer. They let go of Gabe Judy Lolly, the former Vanderbilt and Tennessee player. All those, turned out. So that tells me they could be going to the waiver wire to try and find some help there for some depth.
Terry, what did they do? What did they do at the quarterback position? Because they let Malik Willis go. Obviously, they traded him. What did they bring anybody else in? Or are they going with 2?
They're going with 2 on the 53-man roster. They will bring a 3rd one in for the practice squad. There were some decent guys that got let go today. Bailey Zappi was one. Desmond Ritter got let go. And then Georgia's fellow BGA alum, C.J. Beathard, who I think would be a really good fit here as a practice squad 3rd quarterback, not because he went to the same school as George, but because he has a history in San Francisco where Rand Carthon was, and he's been in Jacksonville where offensive coordinator Nick Holtz was last year. So,
although if he went to BGA, it guarantees he's a winner.
Terry, so now they can bring those veteran guys in and they can put them on practice squad, though, right?
Yes.
Because they've totally changed that totally changed the rule when I was there. After you had gotten on the practice squad and you became a veteran after 2 years, you could not be on the practice squad anymore. So now they can bring them and kind of hide them on the practice squad. Am I correct?
Absolutely. And you can keep them there. Now, if somebody wants them, they can promise them, a spot on a 53-man roster and take them away. But even then, most times you get the opportunity to match that. In other words, if Team X, if you sign, say, C.J. Beathard, who's a vested veteran, and the Atlanta Plasters came and wanted to sign him to their active roster, you would have an opportunity to match that.
Gotcha.
Terry, well, thank you for that.
Can I ask a question?
Maybe.
Surprised by the Trey Avery wave. I was a little surprised to see that.
I was a little bit, just for the fact of pure numbers, but I knew that Avery had kind of been on the bubble. In fact, I kind of thought Gabe Judy Lolly had nosed ahead of him in that race for a 5th corner. But in the end, nobody wins that job for right now unless they go looking on the waiver wire or make a move tomorrow and restore somebody to the active roster.
Okay, we done?
We are done.
We're done.
I think we're done. Terry, great report. Thank you as always.
No problem.
Keep us updated if anything else develops. Billy, you got 3.5 minutes for an update. Go.
All right, more Titans. No, I'm kidding. This update is brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. Log on to mortgageladyusa.com or give her a call, 615-969-4350. All right, couple other NFL notes. The Chiefs are waiving Kadarius Toney in what was a surprising move for me. Obviously, he had a 65-yard punt return in the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl that gave the Chiefs the win over the Eagles, which you thought, that's one play, but Kelly, that was a little surprising to me that Kadarius Toney, but you never know why or what might have happened.
Not surprising to me because he's a great player. He's got great quickness. He's but he's like off the wall, dude. Like I forget what he did in that one game to cost them the game, but he's just, you got to be consistent. I don't think that's what he is.
Dolphins receiver, Odell Beckham Jr., who this just in is now on the Dolphins. He will start the season just like Nick Chubb on the PUP list. So he will miss the first 4 games of this season. And he was brought in to fill their need for that 3rd receiver alongside Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. He will not be there for the first 3 games, so no Odell Beckham Jr. for the Dolphins. Also, another NFL piece, NFL owners voted to change the league's ownership structure today, allowing private equity firms to purchase limited stakes in NFL teams. The owners flew to Minnesota for a special session called by Goodell, where they approved allowing the sale of up to 10% of a stake in a franchise to a select number of private equity firms the league has vetted at over the past few months.
I don't think that'll affect me much, but go ahead.
This piece of news surprised me a little bit. I didn't even know DeMarco Murray was on the staff in Oklahoma with Brent Venables, but he has been suspended for 1 game over violations, recruiting violations. He impermissibly contacted prospects and their families before he was allowed to. So, whatever.
What are we doing?
Yeah,
It's the Wild West. Why are they trying to? Who cares?
Yeah, seriously. Also, Connor Stallions has come out and said that he did not obtain signals through in-person scouting.
Yeah.
Move on. And of course, the documentary is out. It's called Sign Stealer on Netflix. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch it.
Oh, I read all the stuff. He sort of dodged were you on the Central Michigan sideline?
Yeah, but the background of him is really interesting. All he ever wanted to do was be a Michigan coach. And he works his whole life. He joins the military because he realized that was a boost in that's how a lot of coaches became coaches. He joined the military for that purpose.
So we're going to blame the military for this?
Excuse me?
Well, I'm just asking. I mean, this is not what they teach in the military.
Relax, George.
Thank you. Kelly liked that one.
Relax, Francis.
I got to be on my toes with George.
Yeah, keep going.
That's pretty much it, George.
Good. Wonderful. Great show today. See you tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. After the break, Tony Basilio will join us. And then I'm going to toss a hand grenade in Kelly's direction near the end of the hour. He'll love this one. Stick around. We got a good show coming. As John Ward would have said, it's football time in Tennessee. See you in a minute.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5688.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com. Daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
This music that you're hearing is sponsored by the Insurers of Tennessee. Thank you. Don't ever forget, this was one of his classics. Milk's the One. Natural gas. He was one of a kind.
You're really good at that, George.
Are you John Ward?
No, well, I spent about 10 years imitating him as a kid. And he got to hear it one time, and honestly, I don't think he liked it. Anyway, I don't think he did.
It's like Frank Caliendo doing John Madden. John Madden didn't like it.
Oh, no. But he was one of a kind and one terrific broadcaster. And when he said it's football time in Tennessee, it gave people chills.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Basilio has that same reaction for people, and he joins us by telephonic instrument. Tony, how are you?
I just laughed out loud. You were getting ready to, well, never mind. Yeah, when I say football time in Tennessee, when I say football time in Tennessee, George, people fall asleep. So.
It's football time in Tennessee. Sorry.
John Ward's the king of cool, George. You know that? Man. And those guys that did it in his era, there's something different about those. Those guys grew up on radio. They had to, it was just and he was such a big personality. He was such a funny guy.
He and Kaywood Ledford at Kentucky and Larry Munson at Georgia. And I would throw Eli Gold at Alabama. They'll never be anything like them. And it was an era where a lot of people, because all the games weren't on TV, would, gather around their radio, and they were bigger than life. They helped build those programs.
No doubt about it. People relied on those guys. Like, I grew up in a Penn State family, and there was a guy named Ray Scott, who was a classic broadcaster.
Yes.
Same kind of deal, man. That had one of those beautiful, rich voices like Kelly Holcomb.
Oh, gosh. Here we go, Tony.
Ray Scott.
Hey, Kelly, by the way, last week, my lovely wife, Laura, said to me, because I was at, Ocean City. I'm still in Pennsylvania right now. I'm getting ready to head back tomorrow. But she said, you need to quit picking on Kelly Holcomb. She said, I like Kelly. Quit picking on him.
Why is that? She don't need to worry. Hey, I'm good. I've got big shoulders, man. I like it. I like it. There were so many things said in quarterback meeting rooms and in meeting rooms in general that you cannot say on the air, but hey, you better have thick skin, brother. I promise.
Okay, we know you have it. Give me a quarterback that was your equal at it.
Couchy was pretty good.
Tim Couch.
Couchy was pretty good, man. He brought it too, man. We used to get in some battles now with our mouths, and he was pretty good. I did some things to Peyton. I know we're on the Tennessee segment, but I used to do some things to Peyton. He's a practical joker, and I got him a couple of times. He got me a couple of times. I told y'all the story about when we was in training camp in Terre Haute, which is an awful place. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But I left one night and he was in my room, and when I came back about 15 minutes later, he had moved my whole room along with some fellow teammates down to the first floor, which was awesome. That was great.
And the truth is, right, if you're playing with people like that, that means you like them. When you're in one of those deals and people ignore you, you kind of wonder and worry about, hey, how long am I going to be here?
Absolutely.
So tell us this. We got football Saturday.
Yep.
Is there anything about UT Chattanooga that a Tennessee fan should worry about?
No, I don't think so. Now, they are pretty good at their level. They throw the ball pretty well. They are pretty well coached, but for the most part, that's a game you're going to dominate the line of scrimmage. And from a Tennessee perspective, what you want to see is you want to see them play a clean game and, you know, kind of put that thing out of reach early like you're supposed to, and then play some people, get a look at some people, sort of an extension of their summer. Tennessee quit their summer preparations. They basically started in this direction almost 2 weeks ago. So they kind of broke camp early. They were satisfied with where they are and really think they've got some high potential upside on this football team. And obviously it's going to begin at quarterback, but they've got a lot of weapons around Nico, and a lot of guys are going to have an opportunity to break out and, you know, carve out their own spot. So there are reasons to feel really good about this team, though.
So I'm going to go ahead and go down this road, even though I thought I was going to just do it with Kelly. Yeah. You and I are baseball fans, and so we love pennant races. Well, yep. For instance, for a Tennessee, Saturday was a big day. Seeing Florida State go down, you never know, but that might not help open up a spot for somebody like Tennessee, which begs the question, why on God's earth was Mike Norvell, with a team that he thinks could go deep, willing to settle for DJ Ungalale when there were some really good quarterbacks out there that are way better than him?
George, the portal is a really, really interesting thing. I was just talking with a source of mine. You know, the transfer portal in both basketball and football are really, really interesting. Getting one of those quarterbacks is absolutely key. Having one of those guys is solid gold. And if you start looking around these SEC rosters in particular, everybody's got, for the most part, a credible starting quarterback. Now, we know those guys aren't going to all stay healthy. I look at that kid that you were just talking about, who played at Oregon State last year after a rough go of it at Clemson.
Yeah.
And I look at him, George, and he looks to me to be an okay player. And I'm with you. If I'm at Florida State and I want to play in rare air, you cannot settle for okay in that sport. You just can't. And he's okay. He's okay. Knock on, you know, and by the way, they were afraid to let him throw the ball downfield from what I saw.
Absolutely. I am in total agreement with you. They tried to Gerber's baby food their offense, and it came a point where Georgia Tech said, you're going to have to be a lot more creative than this.
Yeah, because they don't trust him.
That's right. And Kelly, why would you bring a quarterback in that you don't trust? This is his fourth year in college football. He should know what he's doing. You should trust him enough to have him out there, or you should have somebody else. But that was probably a miscalculation on their part. Look, the portal's going to give, the portal's going to take. I'm writing tomorrow about Tennessee basketball. They're going to lose 9 players after this season. They've determined that time is much better spent in the transfer portal than it is on signing high-ticket guys, the top 25 guys, many of whom are not going to make an impact in the first season, versus going out and getting a known quantity, investing heavily in a known quantity, knowing what you're getting. Two different worlds.
Boy.
And it makes sense, by the way.
Yeah. And
for both those sports.
And this has made the high school senior kind of look around going, anybody noticing me?
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And that goes for football, basketball, the baseball transfer portal's the same thing. And, you know, when you endeavor to play at the top of these deals, you have to be really on your game, because like Norvell, you know, you make that one move look, we don't know what that kid's going to do the rest of the year at quarterback from Florida State, but I wouldn't bet on him after Saturday. I don't know about you guys. I would not bet on that guy to bounce back and have a good year.
No, I'm with you. By the way, before I turn it to Kelly, yesterday Herm Edwards came out here to Ford Ice Center, did an hour with us.
Wow.
If you get a chance, listen to it. He was fabulous.
Man, he is a gifted orator. That guy, I've always thought that guy would have been a terrific actor, like a Hollywood guy with his personality.
Yes.
He just oozes charisma. Or I've always thought he'd be like a great politician. That guy could get people to follow him.
Yes. He told a great story, Kelly, on the way to dinner afterwards. He said, I was taught a long time ago it doesn't cost anything to be nice.
Wow.
Well said.
He's a good dude.
Really
That was the first
well
time I
said.
met him. I was with him. I was with him in Tampa Bay when when Tony Dungy got that job, and that's what I talked about him with yesterday. That I nobody remembered me because Clyde Christensen became the tight ends coach, and he was offensive coordinator for Maryland, and he brought his quarterback Scott Milanovich in, and me being a young guy, I was still trying to make it. I didn't realize at that point the politics of professional sports, and I had no shot. I mean, I really didn't. But you're talking about a good guy, and he talked about some of the dudes. He's like, in Philly, they all won a championship while he was there in Philly. I mean, the hockey team won one, the baseball team won, the basketball team won one, and then they won one. So it was cool to hear him talk about that. And he was like, that was before cell phones, and we hung out with the Charles Barkleys and the Mo Cheeks and all those dudes. It was really cool.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that's a part, Tony, you would really enjoy. I've butted in. Kelly, what do you got for Tony?
Well, here's what well, first of all, let me get back to the quarterback deal. Y'all were talking about DJ. DJU is what Billy called him. But, it's just like everything else. I think you guys got one, Tony. I mean, we don't know yet, but I think everybody knows that he's a really good player, and he's going to be a really good player if he stays healthy. But, you get in this transfer portal, and all these coaches think, well, they didn't do a good job of coaching him. I can coach him. Well, I've said it the last 2 weeks a bunch, but at some point a quarterback has to make a play, and he's one of those guys. His statistics look pretty good during the game, but when the game is on the line, he's proven that he can't do it when it comes time to do it, and that's what separates the good quarterbacks from the not so good quarterbacks. And I think y'all probably got a good quarterback. I mean, time will tell, but we will see.
Yeah, I think this guy's going to put up tremendous numbers. We were talking about it today on the air. The thing you don't know about anybody is what do you do when you're down a score and you've got to go 80 yards and there's about 3 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock at the end of a game. Do you make the plays? Do you win? That's how those guys are judged. Otherwise, this guy's going to pile up numbers in that offense. He's got a ton of offensive weapons around him. What we don't know and won't know till you get there is what kind of winner is he. And that's really how, I think college and NFL guys, I think that's the high-level guys, I think that's how they're judged, whether or not you win. I mean, look, Carson Wentz in Philly put up a lot of numbers, but he was not well-liked. He was not a winner. He wasn't a team guy. And Kelly, guys like that in the NFL that put up big numbers, but when the time comes, they don't win games because one reason or another, this Nico guy has come in here extremely humble the entire time. He's their high-ticket item. He's their, most, whatever you want to call it, highly compensated guy. Does not lord that over anybody. Has been extremely humble. Has been extremely team-oriented. And I think the sky's the limit for him. I really do. And you guys know me. I'm more going to lean toward my past, which is being Negadelphian, than I am being positive. I'm pretty positive this kid's going to be a very good player.
When did you come up with that term?
No, that's what everybody around here calls the negative fans, Negadelphians.
Oh, that's hilarious. Sorry, Kelly.
Yeah.
So Tony, what do you get out of this game? What are they trying to do? This is like a preseason game for the NFL. This is what this is. UTC. We can sit
That's
here
right.
and talk about it
That's
all
right.
day, but there's a different level, and how are they? It obviously depends on how the game's going, but I mean, do you think they're looking at it as the coach is saying, get Nico 4 or 5 series, let him look good? How is that going to go in this game?
Obviously, but Heupel likes numbers, so they're going to want to put up some numbers. I think guys to watch like this week, a guy like an Ethan Davis, who's a redshirt freshman tight end. Look, I think this guy has tremendous ability. He can make big plays. He's had an incredible camp. They went out and bought a guy from Notre Dame, and they brought in another guy, and this guy just went out there and beat him out in camp. And I think they're looking for him to kind of take the next step, do it in a game. There's a kid on Tennessee's roster last year who Tennessee, highly recruited kid. He was really good in camp. They won a recruiting battle over Alabama for him. He's an in-state linebacker, but Aaron Carter, so I'm talking about, and he really, really struggled in space last year, and it made him look non-instinctive. You can see when young guys in any of these sports, when they're not out there playing, they're out there thinking. They're hoping that the lights come on for him on Saturday, and he's been pretty good in camp, and they're hoping that he can continue that. So, a couple other things to watch for this weekend. One of them, there's a battle at Tennessee star position, which we all call a nickel, in their secondary. And there's a true freshman, Boo Carter, who's been their best guy in the secondary, been their best player in the secondary. This staff does not play and will not play kids. Those two guys in particular. I'm talking about Willie Martinez and also Tim Banks, and that's their responsibility. This guy is going to be too good to keep off the field. And then the other interesting thing for Tennessee is going to be the battle at free safety. Who lines up out there? Is it the kid that Jeremy Pruitt brought here all those years ago? I mean, this kid's a fifth-year former walk-on going to start. Is he really going? I mean, hey, I wish the kid well.
Tony, looking at this team, other than Nico, what do you think the strength of this team is?
Oh, I think it's defensive line. Look, I think Tennessee's got a national championship caliber defensive line. I don't know if they have a national championship caliber anything else. I think they're going to have a national championship caliber quarterback by the end of the year because I think he's going to be that good. But that defensive line is stacked, packed, and jacked. Those guys go 3 deep. They can all play. James Pierce is one of the great rushers in college football, and he plays what they call the Leo position here. And they're just gonna. Here's the other thing: I keep toggling back and forth between this team being a 10-2 and 9-3 team, and I haven't made a formal pick yet. And I'm not doing it for like drama purposes because who the hell cares what I think anyway. But when I think about this team and I look at their defensive line. Defensive lines in Southeastern Conference games really change games because I'm going to force you to throw balls faster. And that's just something you don't even see. You just force quarterbacks to get balls out of their hands because they know that pressure's coming. Second thing is, every once in a while, I can get a ball out of a quarterback's hands, out of a back's hands, get the ball on the ground. I can hit an arm and force a ball to go up in the air, which, I mean, it would really be nice if Tennessee could intercept the ball every once in a while, that kind of thing. So I think if you're going to have one area of your team that is your dominant strength, the defensive line, if you're trying to win, especially these high-level games, is a good place to start.
Kelly, one more.
Yeah. So Tony, I need an update, man. I hadn't asked you this. Now, one young Herring man is gone. He went to Memphis. How's Caleb doing?
I think they're going to be very, very, very good at his position. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Kelly. I'm going to make a phone call for you, and because he's a little off the radar, I'm going to get a complete update for you next week.
Yeah, please, because I want to hear that. I mean, those kids, were at my house constantly. They were over here. So,
no, and they're good kids, right? And you cheer for them, man.
They're awesome kids, man. They're great kids. But I just want to know how he's doing, because it looked like he was third on the depth chart, and I know you saying they've got a lot of depth there. So I just want to know.
Yeah,
how
they're
doing.
Loaded, and I didn't want to say that because I don't know for sure. I guess that's a thing to watch this weekend. All kidding aside. Because you and I both know that what's on a depth chart, what's on a paper, we've learned this with Heupel in the past, what's on that piece of paper means very little. You can tell what coaches think, as the great Chris Burke says, by what they do in games. They can sit there and talk all they want about a relief pitcher, George, but when a game's on the line in the seventh inning in a high-leverage spot, do they put that guy in? And that's something you don't know until you get there.
Yep. Okay, tell people on Saturday what all you're going to be up to and how they can hear you if they've never done that before.
Yeah, tclub.team is how you find us. We'll be on after that game, as soon as that game is over. And that game will be, that post-game show will be really two things. It'll be us talking about and celebrating the fact that Tennessee football's back, college football's back. And secondly, another thing we do is we watch the game in that window. We'll be watching that Florida-Miami game, which is a 3:30 kickoff down there, which, hey, you know what I say to that, George? More power to those people. If you want to sit in Gainesville, Florida at 3:30 Eastern time in a stadium with metal bleachers, more power to you.
Can you say hot?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Uncomfortable, brutal.
Shoot.
They're hoping for a lightning delay.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, those people be sweating like Kelly when he was in ninth grade at the high school dance.
Oh, wow. Kelly, I think
you're trying to get a date to prom, Hoss.
Interesting. Wow. I remember getting the cold flashes, getting those cold. Like after my third no, Kelly, though, I kind of got better at it. The more women that said no to me when I was a kid, the better I got at it.
Well, here's all I got to say to your wife. She's a good lady, but there's somebody for everybody. You know what I'm saying, big dog?
See? She went to bat for you, and you did that.
Yeah. Tell her. Report that back to her. Hey, talk next
She's
week.
Listening.
Oh,
hey,
beautiful.
see you guys.
Take care.
Be blessed, guys. All right, thanks.
You too. He's a good one, man. He is a keeper. Tony Basilio. If you've not heard him before on his show, check him out the way he said. He's a lot of fun. Okay, after the break, I'm going to talk about 3 schools that believe they're going to be in a playoff. But I'm not sure any of the 3 trust their quarterback. Stay tuned. This is the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM. As you might be able to tell, my buddy Stan Harrison, he's an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, but he's actually here to talk about Apple Collision Centers.
Hello, Middle Tennessee. I'm Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers, and we understand the stress it causes in having an automobile accident. We can help you ease the stress of the auto body repair process at our 3 locations. We're conveniently located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. We've got rental cars available, we have PDR technicians available, and we have windshield technicians available. Please stop by one of our places and see us if you need our services.
And by the way, when you come in his office, this just in, he's a sports fan.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season.
Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you need to contact Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you are a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. Check them out today at pancoastbenefits.com or call 615-292-3400.
We are back. When I was growing up, which apparently was just before the Peloponnesian War, you could get away with having a quarterback that was simply a game manager.
Because you had a running game.
Yeah. I don't think you can do that anymore. I think for whatever reason, and I don't pretend to know how or why, it's changed. You better have a stud back there. So, Kelly, bear with me on this. I think we've got one really suspect case in Florida State. DJ Yui Ungalale. I hope I'm saying that right. I have always thought, I've always thought he was kind of a stiff, and Tony brought it up, and I brought it up yesterday. His coaching staff didn't trust him for squat. And if you don't trust your quarterback, what's the point?
Yeah, I don't know if he's a stiff, but he just, once again, for the 50th time in 3 days, I mean, you have to make plays when it's time in a game. There's going to be times in that game the other day. They didn't trust him. They don't trust him. I mean, that's not a good spot to be in as a quarterback, because you feel that. You feel that from your coaching staff. You understand that. And, his numbers were okay. He didn't throw a touchdown. He didn't throw an interception, I don't think, but he just didn't make anything happen. And when you have to make plays as a quarterback, you got to make them. That's what separates the elite quarterbacks to just the average guys.
Got to step up to the licking block.
That's right,
thank
son.
you. Thank you, Boots. Let me ask you this, though. Does he have a right to go into the offensive coordinator when they got back from Dublin and say, what the hell? What'd you bring me here for?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, I think he does.
Yeah, but you got to work around him.
Now, that's a different deal. I'm not ever going into Coach Donnelly and the coaching staff up there. Now, that was a different time. I understand that. But I think you have to look. I always used to tell my head coach over here at Riverdale, like, look at a kid's eyes. You can tell in a kid's eyes if he's wide-eyed, if he doesn't think he can do it. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. It's an emotional deal. It's a personality deal. And maybe they're discussing that on the sideline, and Norvell's like, he doesn't have it today. He doesn't have it. We're going to have to figure out how to coax him through this. And maybe he's the best option. Obviously, they feel like he's the best option that they got. So I don't know. I'm not in the room, but I just know since he's been at Clemson, he got beat out. He went to Oregon State, and he performed okay, but at Florida State, his first game it wasn't impressive to me. It was impressive numbers wise, but you got to make plays, Hoss.
Okay. I will say this in his defense. He was brilliant in the drive that tied the game at 21. He converted on a couple of fourth downs. You're absolutely right.
If they had 4th and 7 every play, they'd be a national title.
Some of this is on their coaching staff. Anyway, 2 other quarterbacks of teams that believe they're going to be in the college football playoff who I'm not sure I trust. That is Cade Klubnik at Clemson. A lot of clucking going on there. Cade Klubnik at Clemson. Do you trust him?
It's a good question, George. I don't know. I haven't seen him enough. I remember, he came in as a true freshman. It was a baptism by fire with that. I'm not sure. He was just big. I think he was West Carroll out of Texas. He went to West Carroll High School, and that's where a lot of quarterbacks have come from. If I'm not mistaken, I think Drew Brees played there. But I don't know. I'm not sure, George. I just I would have to see him a little bit more. I mean, he hasn't so far with all the accolades that he came into Clemson with. I don't think he's lived up to that so far, but you never know what a guy's done in the off season. I mean, I'm sure he's gotten a little bit better, maybe worked on his fundament. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But if you're asking me yes or no, I say no.
Okay. I'm going to give both of you one more. Penn State absolutely believes they will be there. That is Drew Aller. And I don't know if this is more to blame on a coaching staff or on him, but every time they play Ohio State and Michigan, they take the gag. They just disappear. Do we trust this guy in playoff football?
Last year, absolutely not. I don't know if he's gotten better again this year. I'm going to bring that back up. But I watched him, and he was infuriating watching him play. I don't know who it was against. It was either Ohio State or Michigan, but it was infuriating watching him play because he just couldn't make plays, and he couldn't make passes when he needed to. So I'm going to say no on that one as well.
I think for both guys, they don't have, and feels like a cop-out, they don't have enough around them. Clemson does not have a DeAndre Hopkins or a Justin Ross who are Clemson's receivers? And they don't have, their offensive line is down. I'm not trying to make excuses, but that's also the case at Clemson. And I know you've got some Clemson people you talk to. They just don't have near the amount of skill they've had in the past.
And they played Georgia Saturday, and who knows how it's going to turn out, but we'll know what Clemson is after that's over. Now, Penn State, they go to West Virginia.
We'll know what they are, I think.
We are going to know a little bit because those Mountaineers are going to bring those muskets.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That'll be fun.
How would you like to be the mascot at West Virginia Saturday in 90-degree weather at kickoff? Wearing that thing with that gun and the musket and all that crap.
I'm out.
I'm calling in sick.
And whoever does wear it will stink by the end of the game.
Any mascot. I mean, in the 95-degree heat.
I wonder how you clean those things. How do you do that? Do you clean them?
We don't have time, and we don't have the answer.
I'll see if I can get the mascot on the show.
Stat of the day, our first of the week, is coming up after the break. You're listening to The George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
Good afternoon. I'm still looking at this nasty-looking wreck out in Wilson County, the Lebanon area. 40 eastbound, just past Sparta Pike. Traffic's really slow out through here, mostly rubbernecking as they clean up this accident with injuries. 40 eastbound, again, just past Sparta Pike. It's crowded now. 65 north up through Madison, trying to get up to that ramp to Vietnam Vets. Prince's Hot Chicken has new items on their new menu. Order online right now at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you need to contact Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you are a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. Check them out today at pancoastbenefits.com or call 615-292-3400.
Pay to the Order of Hope. Promise. Tomorrow. For years, the Tennessee Lottery has written some pretty big checks, but it turns out that our biggest winner continues to be education. In fact, we've raised more than $7.5 billion and provided more than 2 million scholarships and grants for Tennessee students. Learn more about how lottery dollars are making a difference at tnlottery.com. It's game-changing, life-changing fun.
Hey, this is Greg Pogue inviting you to come hang out every Saturday morning for 2 hours of shows from the iconic Roy's Meat Service in East Nashville. First at 8 o'clock, 13th season of Prep Football Talk presented by Freeman Webb with co-host Coach Bubba Spears. Then following that at 9 from Roy's, it's the return of One-on-One with Greg Pogue, also presented by Freeman Webb. That's Saturday morning at 8 with Prep Football Talk. And then One-on-One with Greg Pogue at 9, all presented by Freeman Webb from Roy's Meat Service in East Nashville.
Welcome back in. Coming up, we're talking SEC coaches. The Athletic ranked and tiered their SEC coaches.
They sure did.
We'll discuss that after the break. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Adam Whitehead Plumbing here in Nashville. If you have issues with your water heaters, bathrooms, kitchen sinks, water, or sewer lines, give Adam a call, 615-485-1534. All right. Here we go. We're going over the weekend. Georgia Tech upset number 10, Florida State, meaning another unranked team beat a top 10 team in week 0/week 1. Who was the last team to accomplish this feat, and who did they beat?
Okay, hold on a minute. Let's read that question again.
So who was the last team to beat a top 10 team that was unranked in week 0/week 1? An unranked team over a top 10 team.
Kelly.
Ooh.
Could that be Duke over Clemson a year ago on Monday night, Labor Day?
Oh, a top 10 team. I don't it could be.
Clemson absolutely was Clemson, and I don't think Duke was ranked, although I could be wrong.
Let me ask you this. Last year when they started the season, TCU was not in the top 10, were they?
I know where you're going, TCU, Colorado.
Yeah, no, TCU was not in the top 10.
Okay, all right. So that, let's go with yours, George.
I like it. I think it's got a heck of a shot.
Boom.
Boom!
Yes. Nice.
Kelly, do you realize what that means?
What's that? We're 1-0.
It means that for this week, we are undefeated and untied.
That's correct. And yet yesterday, man, I was quite surprised that, of course, we knew Billy wasn't going to get it. I liked your question, but I was surprised more people in the audience didn't know it.
Joe Pisarcik was the quarterback who fumbled that sort of put Herm Edwards on the map.
On the map,
on the Miracle in the Meadowlands.
Yep.
That got a big old New York Giants staff fired when that happened. And it created the new play of the kneel down.
Oh.
Yeah. But you know what? As proud as I am for Herm of that, I'm more proud about this Duke Clemson thing.
Nice,
pretty good.
Nice guess, George. Nice.
For those of you at home, that's called pulling one out of your rear end. Hour number 2. Tiered coaches in the SEC. We'll talk about it shortly. Please stick around.
On air and online, Sports Radio WNSR, Brentwood, Nashville.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Special Counsel Jack Smith in a superseding grand jury indictment charging Donald Trump in the January 6th election subversion case. Those new charges, follows the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity. ABC's Aaron Katersky has more.
Special Counsel Jack Smith is not going to be cowed by the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity or by a federal judge in Florida's recent decision to toss the indictment against former President Trump, charging him with mishandling classified material. Jack Smith just decided to appeal that ruling to the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, and now he has filed a superseding indictment in the January 6th election subversion case in Washington.
Trump's attorneys have not responded. Vice President Kamala Harris and running mate Tim Walz will sit for their first joint media interview. CNN announced today that interview takes place this week. In Atlanta, 2 people were killed and a third person injured at a Delta Airlines maintenance facility at Atlanta's airport. This is ABC News.
In all states where prohibited by law, loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Bills piling up? Rent due? Need cash help but have bad or no credit? Then you need to go to FastLoansAI.com, where you can get approved for a loan of up to $10,000 regardless of your credit score. FastLoansAI.com is one of the largest lender networks. Their advanced technology can help anyone get up to $10,000. Best part? Money can be in your bank account as fast as the same day. When you need fast cash, go to FastLoansAI.com. That's FastLoansAI.com.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage, but if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LANZESS.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio. From the Nashville Sports Radio Media Complex. Welcome back to the George Plaster Show. Call George now at 615-844-5600 and online at WNSR.com. And now, George Plaster.
Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown, Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Kelly Holcomb, along with Young Gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
We welcome all of you into the 5 o'clock hour from our digs at the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue, and with the help of my trusty little iPhone, we're going to have some fun during this 5 o'clock hour. Kelly, as you know, we are undefeated and untied this week in Stat of the Day. I'm going to throw a big softball at Billy.
Here we go.
Billy, there are 3 active coaches on the Division I level who have won a national title. Okay, 2 of them play each other on Saturday. That, of course, would be Kirby and Dabo. Who's the third?
Mac Brown.
Okay, very good.
Nice.
He got that a little too quick.
A little too easy.
That,
Nice, Billy.
That pisses me ooff.
Billy's a little, you know that Billy's a little nerd. He sits in his little room at nighttime and he looks up stuff. You know, he's nerdish a little bit.
Right. Is this at his parents' house?
No question. I mean, Mommy brings some milk up. She flips his pillow up before he goes
Shut
to
up,
bed, and
George.
she puts him to sleep.
Seems like I sort of stirred
Kelly
the-
was ever a nerd.
Oh, there's no telling.
Coach Downley probably called you a nerd, woman.
Did I tell you what he said? I told y'all what he said when I was at when we did his roast years ago. You know, because here's the deal, Coach Donnelly. I don't know if I know George has heard him speak, but Billy, you've never heard him speak. He's the best public speaker I've ever heard, and I've heard people speak in public, but he is the best I've ever heard. He's unbelievable with it, but he always wants to go last, and he always wants to go last because if you get him and make fun of him, then he's going to get you. So
He makes a little mental note there.
yeah, and he never comes prepared. He's always got a notepad when he gets there, and he's writing and he's jotting stuff down. It's unbelievable. But the night of his roast, he said, in order for Kelly to have a social life, we had to huddle up.
That's a good one.
And I
Wow.
was dying laughing because he was right. I mean, if I had it to do over again, it would probably be a little different. But all I wanted to do was play football, and it was really funny because I had guys that wanted more in the dorm room, and I went out every now and then. But like those guys were sneaking out, they'd get caught. I just wasn't going to do that. And then Coach Donnelly came up with that because I blasted him pretty good. We went into, Coach Donnelly used to come out. He used to come out every Friday night when we had a home game, and he would meet with the seniors. So when you're a senior, Coach would come to each room, and he would talk to you guys because we had to pick up sandwiches at night. So my good friend, who unfortunately passed away in a car accident, many years ago, but Bert Talley, he was with me in Fayetteville. And he got killed in a car crash. Well, but when he was playing, Coach Donnelly came in there, and Coach Donnelly used to always smoke. He smoked everywhere. So Bert put his shirt up over his nose, and he said, "Bert, what is wrong, son?" And Bert said, "Coach, I just don't like smoking." And Bert always struggled with his weight, and he told him, "Coach, I just don't like smoking." And he goes, "Bert, you know what I don't like, son? Obesity." And I brought them stories up, man, and then he got up there on me and he goes, in order for Kelly to have a social life, we had to huddle up, son.
So on to the business at hand. The Athletic, through writers Chris Vanini and Bruce Feldman. I know a lot more about Feldman. He's a really good writer. They tiered coaches. And I will tell you up front that the best of the best was tier 1, and they only had 2 in there. And I don't think they'll have one of them at the end of the year. Kirby Smart, Dabo Sweeney. I don't think Dabo will end up in tier 1 a year from now. Tier 2, and I want to be able to read this. This group is largely made up of the coaches who have made the 4-team college football playoff but have not won a national title, plus coaches who have come very close, like Kyle Whittingham. In the SEC, there were 2. Billy, am I to take it that we have a picture of each of those 2? Looky there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kelly, I want to debate a tad bit Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Because I want to go a little ways with this. In tier 3, and I'm going to read you a little bit, this next group is very good more often than not, and most have at least one breakthrough season. One big mover here is Eli Drinkwitz, who was tier 5 a year ago. Tier 3 had Eli Drinkwitz, Hugh Freeze, Josh Heupel, Lane Kiffin, Mark Stoops, Steve Sarkisian. Now, this is just me. I would want Lane Kiffin and Mark Stoops ahead of Brian Kelly. I don't think Brian Kelly could win to the level that Mark Stoops has at Kentucky. And I'm not sure he could win to the level at Ole Miss that he's been used to.
That's a good question, George, because I don't know how I feel about that. I think Brian Kelly's a really good coach. I think he found out that, Notre Dame of old is not Notre Dame of new, and he just couldn't. I don't think you could get over the top there. That's why he took the LSU job. I think he's a really good coach. You talk about Mark Stoops, though. Mark Stoops has done so much with so little at the University of Kentucky. Now, they've got money up there in the Bluegrass State. They do have money, but I think he's done exceptional up there, and he's made them, I don't know if Kentucky's ever going to be a force in the national championship deal, but, he's winning 8, 9, 10 games sometimes. It's hard to believe that he's been there since 2013, George, which I didn't realize that. He's been there a long time. Had an opportunity, I think, going to Texas A&M this year. I think he was in the discussion, and I don't know what happened with that, but Lane Kiffin, does Lane Kiffin stay at Ole Miss, you think, George? Or do you think he can do it at Ole Miss, or do you think he leaves and goes somewhere where he can do it?
I think he can get in a playoff at Ole Miss.
But can he win it all?
No, I don't think so.
That's where I'm asking. I don't know if he can win it all. I don't know. I think Brian Kelly deserves to be in Tier 2. I really do. I don't know if these other,
Okay, so you're in agreement on Kelly. Okay,
I am. Yeah, I think he's a pretty. I think he's a pretty good coach. I mean, I really do. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs. I mean, he's a redhead that gets. His facial expressions are crazy sometimes. He wore Jaden Daniels out a couple of times when he was there. He's rough on quarterbacks, which I've had people that are rough on quarterbacks too, because I think if you're rough on the leader of the team, other guys know that if he's rough on him, he's going to be rough on me. And, some guys hold quarterbacks to different standards, which you need to. I mean, it's a different position. And as we've talked about, it's an important position in college football, not only the pros now, but in college and in high school. I think he's a really good coach. I think he figured out that he couldn't do it at Notre Dame. That's why he's in the SEC. Can he get over the hump and win a national championship? I don't know that.
Tier 4 is listed as a very solid group. They're not on the hot seat, and they'll rarely have a terrible season. It's also a group that sees a lot of movement. Mike Elko, who will make his A&M debut, got on that list, and I'm not sure how they figured that one. We don't know what to think. Your boy Marcus Freeman was listed in Tier 4.
I think that's a good spot.
Oh, you're talking about Billy.
Billy, you know.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Mr. I've never been there.
Notre Dame.
Right.
Did you work out a ticket with Herm Edwards there, Billy, yesterday?
Not yet. I got to give him a call.
That was dumb.
I got Herm and Clark getting me a ticket to Notre Dame. I'm set.
Tier 5 is a group of coaches largely on the way up. They listed 2 out of the SEC, Brent Venables, Billy Napier.
Napier's not on the way up.
I'm not sure.
I'm questioning that one.
I read an article on him. I didn't realize that they got a new. I think Dan Mullen got them going in the right direction with getting new stuff. But I didn't realize that at Florida, this big time college football in Gainesville, Florida, that they were kind of behind in their buildings. They were kind of behind in the weight room. They were behind in all that stuff until 2022. So I don't know if he's using that as an excuse, but I mean they got in there while he was there, but it was talking about players used to have to walk a ways, to the practice field from the stadium. They would walk across a road. I mean, you don't think about that as Florida, and I think they've gotten it in place. So I don't know if he was using that as an excuse, but in the article, he brought that up.
Yeah.
Like, we were kind of behind, and, we're there now. So this is a big year for him. And I'm going to ask y'all, too, seeing Brent Venables there, what he did at Clemson, I mean, those guys were in national championship hunts, and then he's the one that leaves, and then Clemson has become kind of irrelevant. Did he have more to do with that than we think?
There's no way we can know that. Right now, you got a lot of people saying, well, the reason that they're taking a notch back is because Dabo has been asleep on transfer portal, NIL, all that kind of stuff. Only time will tell, but I'll also throw it this way, because Venables' first year at Oklahoma wasn't really good. You let him go 7-5, and they'll toss his butt out, contract extension or not.
Yeah, that's true.
That was a good year
true.
last year. I mean, to beat Texas.
Yeah, they beat Texas in a neutral site Cotton Bowl. J.R. Ewing was there.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about his quarterback, this Jackson Arnold kid, but everybody's saying he's a really good player. So I think if you got the guy, and we talked about this, I looked at all the quarterbacks, but we talk about this all the time. A coach and a quarterback is huge in the NFL. Now it's huge in college football. The coach is tied to the quarterback. So, I read an article where they thought that this Jackson Arnold guy might get him there, get him somewhere. So we'll have to see, just how good his coaching is.
They played him in the bowl game against Arizona, and to be honest, he really struggled. And they have put a lot of eggs in his basket.
They have, yep.
And they might, if that doesn't work, kind of be kicking themselves going, we should have gotten in the portal.
Yeah, that's true.
So Tier 6, according to this, includes a few names getting more removed from the success early in their head coaching career. They mentioned Butch Jones, Central Michigan, Cincinnati, Arkansas State. They list in Tier 6 Shane Beamer and Sam Pittman. Now, at Arkansas, there is sort of this rumbling that if Pittman doesn't do well early, that Motorcycle Man will take over as the interim.
Oh, yeah. That's why. I mean, there seems like there's always underlying things going on, but I think that was a huge because he's already been the head coach there.
Right.
And I think he had a little success there. So I can see that happening. This is really bad what I'm about to say, and I probably shouldn't say it. Okay. I just want to ask y'all, have y'all ever, like Andy Reid is one of them. I didn't realize Andy Reid was an O-line coach at wherever Herm said he was the other day, but I've never seen Missouri. I've never seen many O-line coaches have much success as a head coach. Have y'all?
Brent Key is a decent one. Or was he just an O-lineman at Georgia Tech?
Yes, he
By
was.
the way,
You're right.
His stock's about to rise. Maybe.
Yes, it is.
Definitely.
Yes, it is.
I think back to, Robbie Caldwell. He was an interim, of course, at Vandy for a couple of games. But I don't think he was ever. He was a head coach that one season, right?
For one season, yeah.
And then he went to Clemson. But yeah, I think you're right.
It was on an interim. In Tier 7, Derek Mason at middle was listed in Tier 7. Brent Pry at Virginia Tech was a Tier 7. Justin Wilcox, former University of Tennessee defensive coordinator, is listed in Tier 7. Tier 8, this is the hot seat group, plus other coaches who have yet to have a good season. But it's not the end. Only 2 Tier 8 coaches were fired last year, while 4 moved up to Tier 7. Don Brown, UMass. Kenny Burns, Kent State. Sonny Cumbie, Louisiana Tech. Or as, I guess, Keith Jackson would have said, Sonny Cumbie. Excuse me. Stan Drayton at Temple, Tony Elliott, Virginia, Will Hall, Southern Miss, Clark Lee at Vandy, Tony Sanchez at New Mexico State. That's Tier 8.
Oh, Clark is in Tier 8?
Clark is listed in Tier 8. Okay, any in particular you want to know about? I don't know that I can. Trent Dilfer, Tier 7.
Where was he? Tier 7.
Tier 7.
Where'd you say Derek Mason was?
Tier 7.
Tier 7.
According to this Brent Key, who's going to move up huge, Tier 6.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Mason, do you think he should be a tier ahead of Clark Lee?
No.
Well, look, the biggest claim to fame he had was to take care of Tennessee 3 years in a row. Okay, now Tennessee was way down. We know that. But Mason did beat Tennessee 3 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue Derek Mason's done more as a head coach than Clark Lee.
Yeah, thus far.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I don't know, man. Clark comes on here and he's such a nice guy. You just, I don't know. Billy, can you win at Vanderbilt, man? Can you win in the SEC at Vanderbilt?
I mean, you can, but no, it hasn't been proven in this era.
James Franklin did it. I mean, I get so irritated when people say, "Well, it can't be done." Well, James Franklin did it. I mean that catapulted him.
Let me ask this,
him
though.
to the Penn State job, though. You know what I'm saying?
Sure it did. But let me ask this question. When you say, can you win in the SEC, define what you mean by that.
Well, I think he's won, Clark Lee, how many games has he won in the SEC? Two? Two. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So don't you have to win more than two? How many years has he been there, Billy? 3? Is this his 3rd year?
This is 4th year.
4th year. You've only won 2. I think don't you guys think you have to at least win 2 SEC games a year?
Yeah, I would say at least 2, win your 4 non-conference and get to a bowl. I mean,
that's kind of
you should be able to do that. You should be able to do that 3 out of 4 years. And
that's kind of what I see. I'm thinking two games in the SEC, and then you can't get beat by UNLV.
Yeah,
you can't almost get beat by Hawaii. I think you're right. I think not the non-conference games. You got to be a good scheduler, and you got to schedule games where you have a chance, and you're going to win. But then I think you have to at least win 2 SEC games to call it a good season.
And that's with the caveat of you have to schedule winnable non-conference games. Now we're probably going to 3, like we've talked about, 3 non-conference, 9 conference, which will make it a little bit harder. But I think the schedule comes into play for everybody. I mean, say Vanderbilt has Missouri's schedule. We're probably looking at this year a little bit more positively. But, I mean, you got to play the top-tier SEC teams in Texas, LSU, Alabama, Tennessee. I mean, I think the schedule plays into it. But either way, every year it's going to be hard.
I think I asked Mike Organ this, and I'm going to ask you guys, do y'all think that it'll come to a point, and we don't know what's going to happen with all this conference realignment stuff, but do you think that it's going to ever come to a point where every year the heads of these conferences say, this team is not doing what they're supposed to do, or it's a couple of years, you give them 2 or 3 or 4 years, and then they're not producing, and then, the commissioner says, hey, y'all got to go. Do you think it'll ever come to that point?
Hold on. You've asked a great question. Under James Franklin, here were their SEC records. 2-6, 5-3, which to me is a miracle. 4-4. He was 11-13 in SEC stuff at Vandy, 24-15 overall. So, Kelly, there was a point, and I went absolutely nuts when this happened. I want to say this would have been around 2016-ish. David Williams put out, he got asked, where is stadium expansion? And his answer was something to the effect, without having the quote in front of me, we're 2 to 3 years away from that being a discussion. It is at that point, right around the time Sankey was coming in as AD, that I would have had a meeting with whoever mattered at Vandy and said, look, cut the crap, okay? I don't want to read this crap in the paper. If this is really where you all are right now, then we're going to think about booting you because we're paying you a buttload of money, and there is a minimum standard that the SEC ought to be able to expect out of its member institutions. And when they didn't do that, I asked a friend of mine deep in the SEC office, why does this not come up? His answer was, he said, there are three reasons. Teams like Nashville, teams know they can get all the tickets they want for their alumni and boosters, and the likelihood is when they play here, they're going to win.
I think Nashville's the biggest. I think Nashville's the biggest deal. I mean, they have the SEC tournament here, so I think that's the biggest deal that you've got going for Vanderbilt. I think that, I said it the other day. I think baseball's there. They've won SEC championships. They've won national championships. The women's basketball is coming around. I think with Coach Byington, I think the men's basketball is coming around. Now you've got to wait on football. Can football get there? I just don't. I don't know. I know Clark is positive. I really like him. I want him to succeed, but I just don't. That's a huge question that I don't know that we can answer.
Hey, my apologies. I blew over Kalen DeBoer at Alabama, who was listed Tier 2.
Oh, yeah. And I was looking stuff up on him today. Did you know, he started in Sioux Falls. That's where he graduated from, in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. But he's been all over. But as his head coaching record, he's only lost 12 games. He won 3 national championships at Sioux Falls, which is an NAIA school. But that guy's only lost 12 games as a head coach. That's amazing.
I'm starting to think Alabama's going to be just fine under him.
Just fine. I promise you. They're going. I'm telling people.
He's a winner.
Everybody, UT thinks that, hey, they're going to be down. I don't think they're going to miss a beat. I really don't.
I'll tell you what, though, the first time he loses,
he's going to feel that heat.
Man, he'll know it's Alabama. Okay, we're going to go to the break, and then we're going to open up the phone lines. Take it wherever you want. But I'm looking for 3 pigskin prognosticators who have something they want to talk about in the upcoming football season. What is there as we get ready that you believe strongly? 615-844-5600. That is our number. 615-844-5600. Looking for 3 red-blooded Americans as you listen to the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from. And for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5688.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business.
Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday. Okay, we thank Huey Lewis for joining us today. It is the power of love. How much love did we get out of the phones?
We've got one caller on the line.
Just one. We need 3.
No love.
Pigskin prognosticators. Football season is upon us.
It is.
What is there that you're sitting there saying, I am certain of? Let's hear it. 615-844-5600. Tony in Nolensville, you are up first, and I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you, George. I appreciate that, and I am doing a little better, so thank you very much. And watching the program yesterday, fascinating. I enjoyed every bit of it, and thank you, for getting that all put together. And it was just, I think everybody that viewed it really enjoyed it, and I know everybody that was there was enjoying it too. So
thanks. He's terrific. Love him.
Putting a little final touch on that, George, on the Miracle in the Meadowlands. Now, Billy, you're not going to know the answer to this, so you're not even included.
Thanks,
but the other two historians, in Kelly and George,
historians,
do y'all own the Miracle in the Meadowlands? Do you know who who Basarchik was intending to hand the football off to when the fumble?
Oh, God.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Real historians.
What year was it?
Was it 76? I believe it was 76.
Okay, I'm taking
I think
a
it was
stab.
76. Might have been 79.
I'm taking a stab in the dark. Otis Anderson.
No, sir.
He was later. I can't even think of it, George.
Just
Was
one of those
Maurice
knock you off your feet?
Okay, was Maurice Carthon considerably later?
I think he was later,
Okay.
but that's not the correct answer.
Not a great guess. No. I better stick to the fact that I pulled one.
Larry Zonka.
Oh, it was Larry Zonka. Was it really?
He, along with Jim Kick and Mercury Boris, had left in the early 70s Miami to go to the USFL team, Memphis Showboats.
Yeah.
USFL folded, and the New York Giants picked up Larry Zonka.
Your buddy
And
Chris
that's who
Koutras.
Basarchik was handing the ball off to.
Your buddy Chris Koutras texted me the answer. If I
Did
had
he really?
looked at the phone, I could have cheated.
Larry Zonka.
Wow.
For some reason, I've always remembered that.
Tony,
and
he was a
I
man back in the day.
thinking about who the intended ball carrier was, but it was Zonka.
I didn't even remember Larry Zonka as a New York Giant. I remember him
I think
obviously
he played just
going
one
to the
year, George, maybe two, because he retired not too much. He went back to Miami like a one-day contract, I think, to retire back in the 78 or 79.
Kelly, do you remember the three great running backs that Shula had on that undefeated team? Obviously, Larry Zonka was one of them. You remember the other two?
Right. Was Jim Kick.
Bingo.
Was Tony Nathan? No, he wasn't on that team. That was later, wasn't it?
Speedster.
Well, I said not Mercury Morris.
Bingo.
He's wide receiver, wasn't he?
Mercury Morris, yeah. I thought he was a wide out. Is he not? He was a running back.
I thought he was a wide out.
Oh no, I'm going running back.
All right, let's get it.
I don't know who the third one was.
That is Mercury Morris.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Because those three went to Memphis in the deal to the Showboats. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Billy, that's some history for you right there, young man.
That is, man. That's awesome, man. Those Dolphins, the only undefeated team, was the Miami Dolphins, which is crazy. 1972. You're right. It's crazy that you can go undefeated in the National Football League, and they did it.
Tony, what year?
I'm sorry.
What year do you think Billy's cutoff is from this kind of knowledge?
For him beginning to understand and keeping up with sports. He's coming on. He's a young man coming of age, but I think probably I'm going to say 90. Is that too far back?
No, that's probably pretty good.
I was going to go 2012.
I was going to go 2010.
Save it.
Anyway, go ahead, Tony.
Wow.
Diapers
George
on, Billy.
And Kelly,
Bring it back
you
into
might
the
remember
21st century.
Vanderbilt, this year, they were going to play the Virginia Tech game in case, I don't know if many people know this, they were going to play it at Nissan Stadium this year.
Right.
They've since moved it back, obviously, to over here at Vanderbilt. But that one particular year, they moved a Ole Miss game, a home opener, from Dudley Field to Nissan Stadium. And it was a Labor Day weekend. And all it did was bring the whole city of Oxford and Jackson, Mississippi to Nashville for a long holiday weekend. George, you remember that?
Oh, yeah. It was 41-3 Ole Miss. And
awful.
And they had about 35,000 at the game, but I kept hearing from people that we couldn't get in. They don't open enough gates. And that, of course, stirred up over the next 8 weeks. I went off about the fact that the Titans were trying to save money by not opening all the gates. That was a real good move.
And then I thought, here they were going to do it again this year. I guess due to the construction, I don't know, but they have since obviously going to move it back to Dudley Field. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out with them. And one last thing, now I get off here. Kelly, you were talking earlier about and you're right. Rarely do you see many offensive linemen who become head coaches who have a lot of success. It just seems that way. But the Georgia Tech coach, wasn't he an offensive lineman? And I think he's kind of turning a little corner down there a little bit. So, but one game don't make a season. We all know that. But
but it's the most hype that they've had down there since 2005, 2006, when Calvin Johnson was there.
Right.
I had no idea what I was.
Florida State, for all the hype they talked about wanting to leave the conference, I wonder how they're feeling today after that debacle.
Not good. Hey, thank you for the call.
Good. Thank you, George. Thank you, guys.
Okay, to the two Erics that are waiting, hang with me. I got to go to a break, and I'm looking for a third caller to create the sellout. 615-844-5600. You are listening or watching The George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM. As you might be able to tell, my buddy Stan Harrison, he's an Alabama Crimson Tide fan, but he's actually here to talk about Apple Collision Centers.
Hello, Middle Tennessee. I'm Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers, and we understand the stress it causes in having an automobile accident. We can help you ease the stress of the auto body repair process at our 3 locations. We're conveniently located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. We've got rental cars available, we have PDR technicians available, and we have windshield technicians available. Please stop by one of our places and see us if you need our services.
And by the way, when you come in his office, this just in, he's a sports fan.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
If you're having plumbing issues, there's only one guy to call. That's Adam Whitehead. As a third-generation plumber, Adam was born and raised right here in Bellevue. Customers praise his professionalism, efficiency, and personability. Adam is known for his prompt response to emergencies and for providing high-quality repairs at reasonable prices. His expertise extends to various plumbing issues, including sink leaks, dishwasher installations, and outdoor water issues. Call him at 615-485-1534. That's 615-485-1534.
JHA, one source, one company.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
Quick, convenient, efficient. 3 words that we all hope to experience when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to bring just that to an industry that's traditionally dictated to the customer when it's time to do business. Whether you're purchasing class pictures in a yearbook, class jewelry, a letter jacket, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience quick, convenient, and efficient. Find out more at jhacompany.com. JHA, your one source for an unparalleled scholastic experience.
Okay, let's get right back to the phones. It is about 5:42. Eric in Nashville, fire away.
Hey, George, I hate to correct Tony. It was not 1976. It was 1978 that play happened. Because if you remember, George, that was the first year we went to a 16-game schedule. It used to be a 14-game schedule. It went to 16-game schedule. If you remember, the Philadelphia Eagles made the playoffs. They didn't make the playoffs in 1976. So it was 78. And not only that, that was the year, and they also expanded the playoffs. The Falcons almost knocked off the Cowboys during that year, too, where Roger Staubach got knocked out of the game, and Danny White had to lead them to victory. And that was also the year that the Cowboys lost to the Steelers in that 35-31 game with Jackie Smith. So it was 78 the year that it happened, not 76.
Wow, that Cowboy Falcons thing was at Old Atlanta Stadium. Yeah. And the Falcons were up.
That was in Texas Stadium, George. The Falcons thing that you're talking about, that was 1980. That was the year, remember, that Danny White was the starting quarterback.
Come on, George.
No, I said Roger Staubach got knocked out of the game, and Danny White came in to lead him to victory.
Wow.
The 27-20 game that I'm talking about.
Listen, you're the
all
expert.
That happened in 1978. Yeah,
Wow.
I didn't mean to correct Tony, but it was 78, not 76.
Well, you got us all before it's over.
Yeah. Ask Kermit Edwards. I'm sure he remembered too. That was 78. That was the year they made the playoffs. Because the Eagles were, of course, a crappy team, and that was a miracle season for them. But anyway, George, as far as what I think is going to happen this season, again, I don't know if the Titans are going to make the playoffs, but I think they are going to be a real competitive team. As long as they stay healthy, that's the only thing you worry about, the injuries. I think they're going to be, like I said, a lot better than a lot of people think. I don't think they're going to be the worst team of football in the bottom five. I think that as long as they stay healthy, they're going to be a competitive team. Now, they don't have a lot of depth, but I just think that they're going to be a competitive team. Just one last thing, and I'll get off. I just wanted to get, what was your reaction to the Malik Lewis trade? Were you surprised or?
At the moment that we were on the air when it hit, so yes, surprised at that moment, but after a little bit of thought,
think about it,
not really.
Yeah, it was probably better. Yeah, because they may now try and go, I guess, waiver wire and get a third quarterback for the practice squad. I mean, Bailey Zappi's out there now. I'm not saying that's what they're going to get, but that's what they try and do, and also for a roster spot, and I get it. George, I'll let you get to other Eric. Take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you. I would guess Bailey Zappi would be really high on their list, kid from Western Kentucky, and I would think C.J. Beathard, who went to BGA, that's an easy way for me to plug it, would be another one that they would have some interest in.
Mike White as well. I think wasn't Mike White a Western Kentucky guy?
He was.
Yeah, and he started some in the league. So I mean, he's played well at a few instances. So he's another guy.
I want to go back to what Eric was saying. Obviously, he's excited about the Titans. He thinks they'll be better, but maybe not a playoff team. And I think we all agree with that. I had a buddy tell me he compared this year's Titans. This was his prediction. He thinks the Titans this year will be a lot like Josh Heupel in 2021, that Tennessee team. I think they went 7-5. They scared some people. They went to Tuscaloosa and fought with Alabama. They played. They were sneaky, and they could jump up and beat you if you weren't careful. And obviously, they were fun. Their defense wasn't great. They couldn't stop really anybody, but they were fun to watch, and they threw the ball all over the field. I think I thought that was a good comparison. That 2021 Heupel Tennessee team.
Kelly, I'll admit, I've been impressed with the offseason that Rand Carthon has had. Now, he had the money to trump some other teams at times, but still, all the moves he's made, for me, have made sense.
I was going to say that when we were talking to Terry earlier, they went out and got that Jones guy. Is that who it is from
Ernest Jones?
So, yeah, I mean, I think he's coming to his own. Everybody was wondering about that. I mean, I think Mike Vrabel kind of held him back a little bit, to be honest with you. Looking at it now, I think he kind of strong-armed him, and I think, obviously money has a lot to do with it, but the money that they spent was on really good football players. I mean, sometimes you can mess up on those, and they might mess up on some of these, but, I mean, going out and getting, the Jamal Adams, going out and getting him 2 corners, going out and getting another safety as he's done, that was kind of the weak link to the defense, and they've
made some moves.
I think he's done a really good job. And this, with the Jones guy coming in, that's just another, thing that he's done it could turn out really well, and it could be huge in the future for the Tennessee Titans.
Eric in Hendersonville, you are up next, and thank you for waiting.
Wow, good to talk to you. Hey, I hate to correct Tony as well, but Larry Zonka did not go to the Memphis Showboats. Larry Zonka, Jim Kick, Paul Warfield, the 3 big signings to Memphis of the World Football League, the Memphis Southmen, a.k.a. Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, wow. How many different ones of these has Memphis had?
The original Memphis Grizzlies, too. How about that?
So they were then the Southmen.
The Southmen, because I believe they moved they were the Northmen from out of Canada. I don't remember exactly where, but the original World Football League team was the Northmen.
The true North, strong and free.
Right, exactly. And then they came to Memphis as the Southmen, but they were also known as the Grizzlies. But that's where Zonka, Kick, and Moorfield, they were the big three. And Danny White also played for the Memphis Southmen Grizzlies.
And let's not forget, in the old days of Falcon Fever, catch it, they used to, they had what they called the Grits Blitz. You didn't know that, did you? There was also a bumper sticker back, and this was a long time ago. Go Falcons and take the Braves with you. Those were some bad times.
Listen, I grew up in Memphis, and I know you've got some ties to Memphis as well, but I used to keep a running list of the now defunct sports teams from Memphis, going back to the MSL or MLS, which was the Rogues, the Memphis Tams in the ABA, the Memphis Pros in the ABA, the Chicks, obviously, the Memphis Blues in AAA. There's been a lot of teams that have come through Memphis, a lot of names, a lot of franchises.
The Memphis Chicks?
Yeah. You want a good want a good Memphis State story?
Sure.
So when Michael Jordan was with the Wizards, they were going to play the Grizzlies in Memphis, and I was going down there. And my best buddy of that year was John Wilfong, who had played at Memphis State. And he and Elliot Perry was a freshman on my team. So at halftime, I meet up with them, and Wilfong goes, "Do you remember this guy?" Elliot Perry looks at me and goes, No, I don't. And Wilfong says, "Good, no one else does either."
Hey, just related to Memphis State, I'll leave on this. Great Caesar's Ghost.
Yes, I replaced Great Caesar's Ghost. I don't have a clue.
You did. I know you did.
I don't have a clue.
Jackie?
Where did the saying come from?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but that was his deal. Great Caesar's Ghost.
Oh, believe me, it was brought up to me more than once.
I get it.
Thanks for the call.
All right. Thanks, George.
That was a tough year. We
had some historians on here today. Boy,
yeah, I feel like
crazy. Absolutely.
So Memphis sports history class.
Kelly, we had a guy the day after my first game on radio. One of the talk shows decides they're going to do an hour critiquing the new announcer. And a guy calls in and he says, he goes, "It's the first time in a long time I knew where the ball was, down in distance, and score." And I'm sitting in my apartment going, "Yeah." And the guy goes, "But why did we have to go to Nashville to get him?" And I just went, "Oh, no. Is this the way it's going to be?" And the answer was, it was. Okay, after the break, Billy will take you home with Plaster Bet of the Day. Not one, but 2 victories on the way. Stay tuned.
Good afternoon. The Tennessee Highway Patrol is still working this nasty crash out in Wilson County. 40 eastbound just past Sparta Pike. It's been out here now for over an hour. Traffic's just crawling there in the Lebanon area. Wilson County, because of the crash, a car came over from the westbound lanes, hit a car head-on in the eastbound lanes. It's just a terrible wreck there. 40 east at Sparta Pike. Still some volume over here, 40 east at Fessler's. Hey, Nash Painting, a non-franchise painting company, mentioned this ad. Get a 10% discount. Call Nash Painting 912-2288. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention, if you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes significantly. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-240-4917 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-240-4917. That's 800-240-4917. Again, 800-240-4917.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
There aren't any cops around. After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good.
Hey, I can hold my liquor.
I drink and drive all the time.
If you put away some drinks, put away your keys. Fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, a division of the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
Summer is heating up, just like the deals at Omaha Steaks. From perfectly aged steaks to juicy burgers, Omaha Steaks is your summer grilling headquarters. Shop the Hotter Than Fire sale at omahasteaks.com for exclusive, unconditional money-back guaranteed packages starting at $99. Plus, get an extra $10 off with promo code SIZZLE at checkout. Visit omahasteaks.com, code SIZZLE for an extra $10 off. Shop the Hotter Than Fire sale today, before these deals go up in smoke.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Kentucky head basketball coach Mark Pope joining us. What's your vision for getting the Wildcats back to consistently competing for natties?
We're being incredibly active in the transfer portal. We're going to have mostly guys willing to come here and understand what it means to wear the Kentucky uniform. This is bigger than themselves. That's going to be a pathway for guys to hang banners, to go have incredible careers in the NBA, and a pathway for guys to build a legacy as the greatest basketball program in the country.
Jim Rome is here, weekdays 11 to 2 on Nashville Sports Radio, WNSR.
Final segment on a Tuesday. Braves baseball coming up 6:40 tonight in Minnesota. Once again, Spencer Schwellenbach on the mound for Atlanta. We'll see what happens tonight. But first, let's take a look at Plaster's Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give them a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. Kelly, George, he's not here for this, which is kind of funny. He had a 4-0 weekend.
Oh, gosh, he sure did.
I didn't realize that. Tech, plus 11. New Mexico covered at plus 13.5, and then he got the Padres and the Dodgers in baseball. Whew.
Wow, that was huge, man. That was big.
So big weekend for George. Six games above 500 right now.
So what was so important that George had to leave? I mean, this is a derelict of duty. I mean, we need to find him some way.
He had church duties, he said.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
What he had to do? Go clean the toilets. I'm hoping.
I'm sure. I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't too pressing, but he had to get out there. But let's see what he's got tonight. And he's going baseball. Mariners minus 150 over the Rays. I feel like the Mariners are involved a lot. He bets against the Rays a lot, but he's going Mariners tonight over the Rays. And then he's going with the D-backs over the Mets, over Willie's Mets. So these baseball bets, he's going to have to start getting into football, Kelly. That's when it gets tough.
He's rooting against the Mets because they're right on Atlanta's tail, I'd say. So that's why he's rooting against the Mets. And then the Mariners, isn't that crazy, man? How they started out. Everybody starts out with high hopes, but the Mariners had something, and now they suck.
I was talking about that with somebody, a Mariners fan actually, a few nights ago, and he was like, "Yeah, they were the worst team in baseball in the last month, and then they let go of their manager." No. I mean, because you're right. They were one of the better teams, not the best team, they were one of the better teams, and then they just were awful. So Mariners fired their manager, but that's what George is going with. You're going with the Mariners tonight over the Rays, and then the D-backs over the Mets. Kelly, see you tomorrow.
See you, brother. Holler at you.
We got Braves baseball coming up, so keep it right here, 95.9. Tomorrow on the show, we will have Clark Lee preview the matchup against Virginia Tech on Saturday. That's an 11 a.m. kickoff. And we'll also talk more college football, and then Thursday we'll have underdog picks as well. So excited for what's to come tomorrow on the show. Again, George will be back tomorrow. A gang will be back. So looking forward to that. And on Friday we will be at Father Ryan High School for their matchup against Pope Prep, a big Bishop's Cup rivalry. So looking forward to that one and another big week of high school football. For Kelly Holcomb and George Plaster, I'm Billy Derrick saying so long from the George Plaster Show on 95.9 FM.